This is coverage you can count on. WGAL News 8 at 5 starts now.
In the wake of Charlie Kirk's killing last week, many have been taking to social media to share their feelings, but not everyone's posts are received the same way.
3 school districts in the Susquehanna Valley are investigating social media posts made by employees critical of Kirk. It's conjuring up a lot of conversation tonight about the First Amendment and free speech. Welcome to News 8 at 5 o'clock, everyone. I'm Brian Roach.
And I'm Lori Burkholder. All new tonight, Meredith Jorgensen looked into how the schools are responding and the constitutional rights you have when you're an educator at a public school.
Brian and Lori, some Susquehanna Valley schools are responding after backlash against what employees have posted online. Tonight, we take a closer look at those rights and responsibilities of teachers when it comes to free speech on their personal social media accounts. Here at the School District of Lancaster, it's called Code 320. A post from an employee with the district about Wednesday's shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk drew criticism. The Lancaster police provided extra security Friday after the school and the teacher received threats, but the school officials say no extra police presence was needed this morning and school ran as scheduled. The School District of Lancaster does provide its employees the right to speak out on issues of public concern, but has a policy to clarify situations when that expression might conflict with the district's interests. It's part of the district's policy manual under freedom of speech in non-school settings. Item 1 says to state clearly that the comments are personal views and not those of the district. The Lancaster City Police say they continue to work with the School District of Lancaster.
Our school resource officers are fully engaged with school staff and ensuring the safety of anybody who comes to the School District of Lancaster. We have not seen any threats to anyone's safety.
Additionally, the Cocalico School District says it's investigating a social media post attributed to one of its staff members who is on sabbatical, saying it will address these concerns privately. In an email to the community posted online, the district says it expects an increase of police presence at school today, citing no immediate concerns, but that the district is working with law enforcement. Additionally, Southern York County School District also responded to criticism of an employee's personal post, saying that the comments are the staff's own and do not in any way speak for the district. So I also reached out to the Pennsylvania State Educators Association, which represents more than 177,000 educators and staff throughout the state. So in a statement, in part, the PSE says, PSEA strongly believes that violence, even threats of violence, is the opposite of everything we as educators commit our lives and our careers to. It continued that out of respect for our members' privacy, we do not have a comment on any individual member's response to Mr. Kirk's tragic killing. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll also talk about groups of messages where people are posting other people who have posted negative comments and how people are filing those posts and sort of hunting those people down, looking for those people online. We'll have more on that coming up at 6 o'clock. In Lancaster County, I'm Meredith Jorgensen, WGAL News 8.
All right, Meredith, we'll see you at 6. And NBC News has learned that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has told his staff to identify military members who have mocked Kirk's murder so that they can be punished. 2 defense officials say several service members have already lost their jobs. Hegseth also posted messages on X calling on the public to report any posts that were not what he calls sympathetic to Kirk's murder. And as for the latest on the investigation, police are continuing to learn more about the 22-year-old suspect police and federal agents say murdered the political activist. That new information include details about his roommate, who Utah's governor says is cooperating with the investigation and was romantically involved with the alleged killer. The FBI also says DNA on a towel found near the scene matches Robinson's. Vice President J.D. Vance commemorated who he called a dear friend by filling in today on Kirk's podcast from his office in the White House.
Hey, everybody. J.D. Vance here. We're going to pay tribute to his courageous legacy, and we're going to commit to keep it forever alive.
And Kirk's funeral is set for Sunday in Arizona. We should learn more about the suspect and also new evidence tomorrow when those formal charges will be filed in the case.
Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro is also preparing to address what he calls political violence in the country. Tomorrow, he's expected to deliver a major address while in Pittsburgh at the 2025 Eradicate Hate Global Summit. This comes after the governor criticized the president's use of the word scum in his latest remarks, criticizing left-wing groups. Pushed back on the suggestion that political violence is a problem only plaguing one political side. In a post on X, Shapiro said in part, "No one party is immune from political violence," and quote, "My family and I can attest to that." Shapiro was targeted in an alleged assassination attempt earlier this year at the governor's residence in Harrisburg when the mansion was set on fire as his family slept inside. New video out of Dauphin County tonight showing crews needing to douse a garbage fire. The driver of the truck noticed smoke coming from the vehicle this morning as it traveled down Route 39 in Hershey. The driver pulled into the parking lot at the intersection of Route 39 and Museum Drive around 9:20 a.m. Steve Smith, a volunteer at the nearby AACA Museum, said the load of burning trash was dumped just about 25 feet from his parked car. Smith says he and about a dozen other people had to move their vehicles as this fire burned. Firefighters responded, as you can see there, and eventually put out the flames.